Good morning, Lorraine. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, good morning, Erika. It's great to chat with you.
I'm chatting with Lorraine Carey today. She's the author of 14 books, including co-authored novels and anthologies. Her genres include middle grade, young adult, and paranormal fiction, and short stories. I have read most of your novels, Lorraine, and I know your stories are based on true legends or accounts of your personal life. I'd like to know more about your recent novel, Night Mistress of the Paradise Palms. Santiana is a well-written, fascinating character, an immortal, evil mermaid. Is her story based on a legend or created by your imagination?
Well, Erika, we lived on the island of Grand Cayman for 9 years, and yes, I during the time I lived there, I was able to listen to a lot of people, locals, talk about the legends out of the Caribbean, and many of those involved evil sirens, sea monsters, and even voodoo, because at one time Grand Cayman was a part of Jamaica. So you still have that, that voodoo influence there. They've had a lot of hurricanes and tropical storms, and they say that, along with unearthing debris, it also can disturb the spirits who, lie at the bottom of the sea. And one older fisherman had told me this, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought, there's been a lot of shipwrecks there. There's been a lot of, what lies there sometimes can be disturbed. Just as we say when we go into a haunted house or we remodel a house, you disturb the spirits. Let me go back to talk about, we moved several times on the island. We rented a condo way out on the far end of the island, okay? And there was like a jetty of rocks that were behind us. And during the night, I could hear all these strange noises, and as if ships were like crashing into the rocks. And I'd wake my husband up, and he'd say, "Oh, those are just fishermen out at night," And I'm always, thinking and wondering, okay, what are these fishermen doing out at night? Like I said, this had me wondering. Well,
I would wonder about that too.
This is going to lead to another time. We'll talk about what that led to. But anyway, when our lease was up, we moved into another condo complex, again, right on the water, but it was more like on the famous 7 Mile Beach. And there was a lady there who was a renter. She was a long-term renter for the United States. I met her. We had a communal laundry room, and I met her in the laundry room. We were doing our laundry. And she was telling me, she goes, "You better be careful here." And I'm like, okay, why? This sparked my interest. So she went on, she was talking about there was some type of succubus who would come and attack her in the night. And she said, because I asked her, "Have you called the police?" And she said, she kept calling the police. She thought it was a male intruder, but the police reports kept becoming more frequent. And then they even stopped coming to her aid. And they all felt that, okay, this woman is delusional, so they stopped replying to her. Me, myself, as a believer in this sort of thing, I listened to her. And, being an empath, I don't know, these kind of people are just, they find you and, you listen to them. So, at one point, against my husband's wishes, he just said, stay clear of her. But, I couldn't, I had compassion. She said, "Come to my condo. I want to show you something. You're going to see that someone broke in. And, when I went in, things looked amiss, like somebody had gone through her drawers. And then she was showing me bruises on her body. And I'm like, this just doesn't add up. She had them on her legs. She had them on her arms. She seemed hopeless. And, she claimed nobody would listen to her. The police weren't even listening to her. So she did move back to the States. And then I didn't see her after that. But, the memory with all that stayed with me. And that was the inspiration to write night mistress.
I wonder what happened to her.
Really? Yeah.
Well, I loved your story, actually. It was such a mysterious page turner, and some of the scenes really gave me goosebumps. Do you think people hearing about the legends would think twice about staying at the resort in the Caribbean?
I don't think so. But, of course, there's people that, they'll read fiction and they'll think, well, maybe it's true. But, the Caribbean is a great place. However, let me mention, and people sometimes don't think about this. When we stay at a hotel, and I don't know if you're like me or people like me, I check the sheets, are they clean? I check the bathroom for cleanliness. But we often neglect to consider the negative energy that may have been left behind in that room. Maybe someone was there that had a fight, or, energy lingers. So I don't know. Some people do clear energy with spraying a little bit of sea salt in the corner of each room. And I've done that. I do carry a small bottle with me. If we're staying at an ocean resort, I'll get real seawater and water and just kind of spray it. If not, I just bring a little, just regular from the store, sea salt. So that's just a good way of cleansing an area where you're going to stay.
So the sea salt, when you sprinkle in corners, that cleans the negative energy?
It does. You can leave it in the corners, or they suggest that you mix it with salt. And I have just a little spray bottle, those travel sizes, and I spray it in every corner.
Well, I'll keep that in mind.
Yes.
Many people may not think of that, but all right, getting back to your novel. You told me you think this book is one of your best accomplishments. Why do you think so? Well, actually, I think so, but I want to know what you think.
Well, thank you. I know you've published many of my books. I think it is because it reflects my fondest memories of living there. And I put a lot of emotions into this book. And I'll tell you again, when you live on an island, it's surrounded by water, and water is energy. And it really does affect you. So in the book I mentioned they had a horrific hurricane. It was called Hurricane Ivan, and it destroyed the island in 2004. And I don't know if people know that. I believe it was for 5 minutes. You couldn't find it on the map. It was underwater. It was undetectable. Yeah, and I do mention in the beginning of the book how Santiana, the sea enchantress, is unearthed during this hurricane, and she's even more powerful because of the hurricane stirs up her energy. I love the protagonist in my story, Della. She had an inn who was destroyed in Ivan, but she rebuilds it only to find that Santiana starts meddling, playing dark magic with her guests. But she fights like hell to save this inn and her reputation. Because, guests are leaving scared. They're saying, things are happening in their rooms. This place is evil, yada, yada. She goes on. She's a strong character. And, most of my books, I like my female leads to be strong. In the story, I also mentioned that a paranormal team is brought in to try to banish the evil spirit. And when they come in, oh man, they're not even expecting the surprises that are waiting for them.
Yeah, I really like Della, her character. She's quite a woman.
Yeah, she is. She's quite a woman.
Well, this book sounds like, a great read for those who are into the paranormal or supernatural. And a lot of people like that genre. Do you plan on writing a sequel to this book?
It was a fleeting thought for a moment, but I don't know, it hasn't reoccurred. It may in the near future, but right now I'm working on a short story. But I thought if I do go back and do a sequel, I'd like to do short chapters where different accounts of guests that stay at the inn. So it may in the near future.
Yeah, it sounds like something like in one book, short little stories of different people, experiences.
Yes, that's where it would. That's where it would go, Erika.
Yeah. Well, nowadays people don't have time, well, too much time to read long novels, so I think it's a good idea.
I do too. And the more I think of it, now that we're talking about it, okay, I've got inspiration now, so it may develop.
Hmm. Well, it was a real pleasure talking to you today, Lorraine. Where do readers find your books?
You know, it is a KDP exclusive on Amazon. It's available in print and in ebook, and I hope they pick up the book and enjoy the story.
I'm sure they will. Well, thank you for chatting with me this morning.
It was a pleasure. Happy Friday, Erika, and happy Friday to everybody listening. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.